What's up, guys? Welcome back to day 2 of the $100 a day challenge. And so we started off here with King 2 and we were automatically bought in. Not ideally a hand we want to see a flop with here, but we do get to anyways because nobody raised pre-flop. It's going to check through here on the flop, and then on the turn when our opponent takes a stab, we are just going to lay it down. Moving on to the next hand, we got 6 of clubs, 2 of clubs, and we decided to get in there on the pre-flop, and then we don't hit anything on the flop or the turn. Our opponent bets on the turn, and we are going to just lay it down to play another hand. And moving on to the next hand, we have ace 2 of hearts here in the big blind, and the opponent in middle position is going to raise to $10. We're going to call here just to see a flop, see if we can hit the nut flush. We don't flop anything, and so we're just going to check and flow. The guy in between checks as well, and our opponent is going to stab at it here. And then we are just going to lay it down as we did not connect. We got backdoor hearts, but we don't have a pair or anything. Not really good equity to keep going. In the next hand here, we are the small blind. We have ace queen. The player before the button raised to 10. We decided to raise it to 30. We want to raise it up, especially being out of position here in the small blind. We kind of want to just isolate, maybe get it to heads up. And this opponent raises to 80. I don't really like that, but I like to call here. Maybe a loose type of play here by me. But we do have a premium hand. We don't connect on the flop, so we decide to check it over and flow to see what our opponent does. And he is going to think, and then check. When he checks on the flop with no c-bet, we just decide to bet here kind of to see where we stand. And again, our opponent is going to think this over, and he's going to stick in the call. When the 5 comes on the river, we're really just betting here. We want to make it look like we're betting for value, so I decide to size down a little bit. And see what our opponent does. Unfortunately, that doesn't work, and our opponent is going to end up thinking for a second, and then he jams over the top, and obviously with no pair here, there's nothing else to do but just lay it down. Next hand here, we got queen 5 of diamonds. We are right behind the button, so we decide to raise here, having position, and we almost get it through, but the straddle decides to call, so we are going to see a flop of 4-4 queen. So we flop top pair here. Our opponent is going to think for a second, and then they're going to check it over to us. We're going to stab here. Obviously, we hit top pair, and then they are going to lay it down, so we will get some money back from the previous hand that we lost with the ace queen. And the next hand, we have ace jack offsuit, and our opponent raised to $10. We're in position on him, but there is a couple people behind us, and we want to get them out of the hand, so we decide to raise to 30 here. And we are going to get a caller. He's going to check it here, and we are just going to check it back. We don't hit anything on the flop, and there's a king, so we don't want to bet and bloat the pot. Then on the turn, we hit the jack, so we are going to bet our pair, and our opponent thinks for a second, and he is going to call. Then a 7 comes on the river. They check again, and we got showdown value. There's no need to bet just in case he does have a king or a 7, and we are going to take it down. Moving on to the next hand, we have ace 7. We are in the mandatory straddle here, and the middle position player is going to bet to 10. There's a call before us, 2 players call, so we are actually going to stick in the call as well. When we flop ace high, we are just going to check and flow to the pre-flop raiser. And it is actually going to get checked through here, which is a good sign for us. High frequency that nobody else has an ace. So even with our weak ace, we are going to take a stab at it here. And we elect to bet 25. We do get called not only by 1 player, but 2 players. Actually, we get called by everybody. And then on the river, we just bet again. We take another stab at it, still with our ace, hoping nobody has a 10. And lucky for us, everybody folds, and we take it down. Then we are here with 8-9 of spades. We are in the big blind. And as it gets around to us, the player in middle position is going to raise to $10. We are going to elect to call here with the suited connector, see what we can do. So on the flop, we are going to just check and flow again to the pre-flop aggressor and see what unfolds here. And so he's going to think and check. We have a pair, but it's not a very good one, so we decide to check here again. And then when he decides to bet here, he chooses a smaller sizing, almost half pot, but it's only $20. So we decide to call here. It's kind of a sticky call, but, he didn't bet the flop when he was the pre-flop aggressor, so, what kind of story is he trying to tell us? Then when the flush comes in on the river, if he was bluffing that or anything, we're just going to try to represent the flush here. And he thinks it over for a second, and he does put in the call, and we think that we're probably not good when he puts in the call because we're beat by a lot of things, but lucky for us, he has pocket sevens, so we are actually value betting with a bluff on the river, which was lucky for us. And here we are with queens. We're going to raise it up to 12, which is 3 times the mandatory straddle. And unfortunately, everybody's going to fold, but hey, you never complain about a pot coming our way. So instead of battling something out there, we're just going to scoop that one up. And then we are here with 10-6 of hearts in the mandatory straddle. And this guy raises to 14. Again, this isn't a hand that I always love to call with, but we do decide to call here just to, kind of don't let this guy steal the blinds and see what we can let unfold. We do hit a 6 here, but with the ace and the jack on the flop, we're just going to fold and live to play another hand. And the next hand that we decided to play was King 5. We're right behind the button in this, and when this player raises to 12, we're just going to call with our King 5. It's not the best hand to call with, but in being in position, we can kind of play some things out and see what we can do. And so the opponent thinks it over here, and we decide to get a little sticky here, and we call, maybe hit a backdoor flush, maybe this guy's just c-betting, and when he continues on the turn and we don't improve, we're just going to lay it down. Here we are with 6-4 of spades, and again, we are 2 spots behind the button, so we are in decent position. Player behind us calls, so not really what we were looking for with that raise. As we continue on in the hand, we kind of want to be the last player to act. That was our intention here with raising to 12. Otherwise, I would have just folded. This player raises to 60, and it is a no-brainer for us. We thought for a second, but, at the end of the day, 6-4 is not good enough of a hand to call 60 pre-flop. So then we get 10-8 of spades when we are in the small blind. And we see a flop of ace, queen, 4, and we check it over to the pre-flop aggressor again, and he is going to think, and then he is going to stick in a bet of 10. We call here. We don't have much, but just to see, a lot of players like to c-bet online. Continuation bet for those of you who don't know what that is. And then when we pick up a spade draw here on the turn, this is a pretty decent card for us, even though it does pair the board, gives us some more equity going out through the hand. But this player checks. When he checks there, it pretty much tells us he doesn't have an ace, so we decide to bet. He does not have an ace, but unfortunately he is going to stick in the call, and we're going to see the bad news that he has 6s, as we were just purely bluffing without even a pair, and he's going to take that one down. Moving to our next hand here, we had 6-5 offsuit on the button, and we are just going to do a standard elect to fold, but then the internet crashes, and we get kicked from the game, which is going to give us an automatic loss. I actually looked it up because the internet was working fine at my house, but at Cloudflare, that program went down, so a lot of sites were down, so my WPT wasn't working, and then we just had to wait. And after waiting an hour, we are back on. If you are wondering why a change in the way that you are seeing it on the screen, it is because when the internet came back up, I was not on my computer anymore. I did record on my phone yesterday, and that is why it was looking like this. And I did a little bit of both today because I was playing on my laptop before the internet went down, and then I was playing on my phone. So let me know what you guys like better in the comments. And now let's get back right into the gameplay. So we are playing 2-4-8 here, different from the 1-2-4 we were playing this morning. And we get ace queen our first hand, and we elect to raise to 24. This player on the button raises to 60. And we are just going to raise him up. We don't want to really go to a flop here, not knowing where we stand. And lucky for us, he folds, so we scoop that one up nice and easy. We are in a little bit of a hole here because of our losing session this morning, so we do need to win more than 100 in this session to get over 100 on the day. But that is all right because we started out good with plus 72. We have ace 8 here, and they raise it up to 20 and 80, so we just make a good fold there. We have king 3 here in the big blind, and he raises to 20. Kind of a looser call from us, but we stick it in there anyways. And then we hit bottom pair on the flop, which is pretty decent. And this guy bets 28, average Steve bet, so we just call that off. And the player in between us raises to 95, which we do not like to see. We can't really continue here. We have backdoor hearts, but we have bottom pair, so we don't have a lot to fight with. And we are just going to have to lay this one down, unfortunately, after sticking in that 28 from the original player's C bet. And we fold king 9. We fold 6-5, we fold 3-9, and then we pick up a pair of 9s here in the straddle, and this player raises to 24, which we have to find out what he kind of has here because we have 9s. We got to figure out where we stand. This player actually in between us before it even gets to us with that $24 raises it up to 108. We don't really want to see a flop here with 9s. Seeing that 108, so we kind of want to get those big hands out, so we elect to go all in. We do get a call, and our opponent has ace king. It is a flip, and he does not hit his pair, so our 9s hold, which is just beautiful. It was a nice $600 win there. We didn't really have to do much except for sweat it out on the flop, turn, and river, but we do hold, and that is why we went all in there, because we just thought our equity was good, and it was a flip, and we won it. Then we get 3s here. This is going to be the last hand of the session. It dealt us in before we could leave the table. And we call on the flop just to set mine a little bit more. 8's not a bad price, and it checks through. And we are going to see that our opponent has ace 6, so he has us beat. And then we stand up from the table and take our dub of $610 there. So our total profit was $527.68 on the day. So a lot better of a day than yesterday. Obviously started out rough in the hole. We were down to 160 off our original 400, so we were down quite a bit, but we battled back, and we had some luck on that flip with the 9s versus ace-king as we take it down. So thanks for watching day 2. Come back tomorrow for day 3, and make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you all tomorrow.